What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Frame Reviews. I'm Scott, and today we're reviewing Tag. Tag is directed by Jeff Tomsic and stars Jeremy Renner, Ed Helms, Hannibal Buress, Jake Johnson, and John Hamm. And all five of those guys are buddies that have been playing a game of tag since they were young. About 30 years we're talking here. The premise is that Ed Helms comes back and strikes up another tag. And they do this one month out of the year. And he comes to John Hamm and says, "Hey, one more time to try to get Jeremy Renner because we haven't gotten him ever. And this is the year we're going to do it because he says he's going to retire." And throughout the years, you can show up anywhere. People throughout the month of May that play in this game of tag show up. They do disguises. They go to weddings, funerals. They go to the birthing of babies. They're there. All sorts of different crazy stuff to play this game of tag. And Jeremy Renner's character has never been tagged before. So these guys, they got to get him before he retires. Ed Helms wraps up the group, and away we go, watching these five guys play tag and sort of reunite. Now, before I even got into this film, I was thinking there were a few different ways they could take this film, okay? You could talk about, being a kid, not growing up. You could talk about being too much of a kid, not growing up. You could talk about staying together, or you can talk about moving apart. At one point, they mentioned Jeremy Renner's character has moved away from them because of this game. So there's all sorts of different routes they could have went in this movie. And to be honest with you, they play Morse code and they tap into each one of these and they make it really wide open, right out in the open about, hey, this is what we're saying, and we're gonna tap it. We're going to tap it, and then we're going to leave. And what you get is sort of, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, they never get into one specific thing. They tap on every single one, but they don't actually tell you, oh, this is what we want you to take from this movie. And they use that as, like, this buffer so that they can go on and show you tag. So most of this movie is these guys playing tag and this slapstick style of comedy, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because when they tap on the real heartfelt, emotional kind of stuff, it doesn't match what they're showing us during tag because it's this slapstick, crazy stuff that's going on. Dudes doing backflips out windows and they're racing golf carts and then out of nowhere they have this like homage to Predator scene in a game or in a movie that's about a game of tag. And this is what really bugs me about this movie because they tell you in the beginning, hey, this is what we're kind of going for. This is based on a true story. They say this in the beginning. So you're thinking, okay, we got to kind of take this seriously because this is based on a true story. And then what they do in succession after that is then they do some really crazy stuff and it just kind of bounces off the walls and they lose sight of what the movie is actually meant to be. And I actually, coming out of the movie, I don't know what it was meant to be except for stupid fun of these guys playing tag and how it's either messing with their lives, it's keeping them together, it's not keeping them together, they need to grow up, they don't want to grow up, that kind of thing, and it doesn't hit on that as much. Not to mention, then, they decide to throw in this big twist at the end, and it makes no sense. We're talking the last 15 minutes, they drop this twist, and you're kind of like, but why? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. There's no purpose for that to happen, and then it's like, all of a sudden everything comes full circle where I felt like if they did that earlier in the movie or made it an actual plot point, we would have felt a little bit more deeper for the characters. This is a really loaded cast. I mean, you got a lot of funny guys, but they do these things in these movies. I've seen this more and more in modern comedies where they'll have a joke, they'll cut to the reaction shot, and then they'll cut to another reaction shot to the person who actually made the joke. And it kind of ruins it because I want to feel that comedic beat. I want the guy to land the joke, or the guy or the girl to land the joke, and then cut to the reaction, or cut to a two shot of them. Like, I want to see the reaction, but I don't want to have it cut to the reaction, then cut back to the reaction, and then everyone just like, it's like, oh, you like mumble about what just happened, and it's like, it ruins the joke for me. That's just a personal thing. Another thing, Isla Fisher, however you pronounce it, she is a bombshell in this movie. She is hilarious. She is funny, but they can't utilize her because of specific things that they go through in this movie. And she's there, but it's like, she is the emotional firecracker, and you want her in this kind of movie, the one that's slapstick. People are getting hurt and flipping off buildings and jumping through windows and hanging off wires and golf carts. Like, she is so intense in this movie, and it works really well. But they don't get to showcase her because of the way they tried to unroll this film. I have a lot of issues with this movie. Obviously, I just stated a lot of them. The cast is likable in certain situations. I'm a sucker for reuniting of friends, old friends, because we all have those friends that when we get together, we have a great time. But you don't see them often. You know what I mean? So you get that feeling when you go into this movie and they're going back to their old fort or their old hangout, grabbing beers from like 20 years ago, and just enjoying each other's company. I could watch that movie. This movie I can't watch. And because of the things that I said, there is no true meaning. They didn't give you a true meaning. They give you like 5 or 6 meanings, but they never actually delve into any of them. And it really bugged me. For that, I'm going to give the movie a 2 out of 4 stars. It caught me at a point right now where I'm like, I sat on this movie for a while, and the more I talked about it, the more it went down. So for me, 2 out of 4. Some people will have a good time. There were some chuckles. I don't think it really hit well with the crowd. You can't really grasp onto one character, and when they want you to grasp on one character, then you kind of get it, and it's like the last 15 minutes of the movie, and it's like, okay, well, where does it go from here though? You don't finish anything. You just create another conflict, and you don't end it well. So 2 out of 4 for me for Tag. Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks.